Okay, well, hi everyone, and welcome to the Friday meditation drop in. My name is Karanavacha, and I'm one of the members of the Sri Ratna Buddhist order attached to the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. So, today we're going to be doing a meditation called the Mindfulness of Breathing. We'll probably meditate for about half an hour, but there'll be a little bit of intro and preparation before that. Many of you, I think, will have joined before. And you'll know that we alternate 2 different meditations per week. No, each week, sort of alternately. So this week is mindfulness of breathing. Last week and next week will be the other meditation that we do, which is called the Metta Bhavana. They're both mindfulness practices. I guess all meditation is a mindfulness practice, really. That's what we're doing. So the one that we're doing today, the mindfulness of breathing, it's like the core mindfulness practice, which doesn't mean, it's one of those things that is both simple but very profound. So it's not difficult to kind of learn, what the steps are, but then you can just take it deeper and deeper. But before I go any further into that, I'm going to talk to you a little, as we often do, about the funding of the centre and, request your generosity. So the Nottingham Buddhist Centre has run for 24 years or something on the basis of generosity. So we don't charge for classes. We want these practices and the Dharma teachings, the Buddhist teachings, to be available to everyone, whatever their economic circumstances are. That's just as true doing it online as when we're there in person with you. So we exist on generosity, and in a way we give people the opportunity to be generous. Money, but also people volunteering, giving a lot of time and energy to keep the centre going. So during lockdown, during COVID, well, we're still shut and probably will be for a while. It's been particularly a challenge for us financially, but we've managed, very much thanks to the generosity of people who have been seeing, our online events, classes, and the like. We weren't able to take advantage of the furloughing because we actually it felt really important, particularly during lockdown, to keep everything going as much as we could, just transferring stuff to online, which, takes a bit of getting used to. We're all kind of there now. But it's meant that we've been particularly blessed, really, with the generosity of people, and we just need to keep it coming. So please, if you're participating in any of our activities, there is on our website, there's a very easy, yes, just a button, and we're always delighted with whatever anyone can give. And it's equally true that if we know that there's a lot of hardship around at the moment. If you can't give anything, you're equally welcome. If you have a standing order, if you can raise it a little, that really helps us during this time. And if you haven't got a standing order, you might want to think about doing one. Okay, that's that. So let's talk a little bit about the mindfulness of breathing, and then we'll get down to practicing. So this is a very ancient practice. It's said to be the practice that the Buddha was doing when he gained enlightenment, and it comes directly from the teachings of the Buddha. It's basically a training in being present, being in the present. I want to say being in the eternity of the present, because, of course, there's now and there's now and there's now and there's now. It's always changing and it's never ending. And it's the only real place to be. But of course, that's not so easy for us humans, because our attention is always being taken up with the past, the present, or past or the future, or fantasies or planning or all those things. You know, we're very, very caught up in the world that our mind is creating, which actually is not the world that we're truly experiencing. The world we're truly experiencing is just right here and now. So we kind of miss it. And actually, the being in the present here and now is where you work. That's our working ground, really. You know, that's where you can really notice things and decide that you're going to do it a little bit differently or whatever. I mean, you can plan, but it's actually in the moment that we can really be effective and kind of take some control of our lives. There is only now, really. There is only now and now and now and now. So the mindfulness of breathing is very much a training in how to be fully present with our experience, and in some ways to liberate us from all the stories, all the constructions, all the shaping of reality that goes on in our heads, so that we can be more present. And absolutely key in that is coming into present experience, which is very much our five senses. Sixth sense in Buddhism is the mind, which is just another train of experiences going on. So a real antidote to being in our heads is to become aware of what our body is experiencing, what it's really like having a body and being in it right now. Yeah. So we do that to help ourselves. We use the breath. So the breath is a wonderful, well, it keeps, of course it's wonderful, it keeps us alive, but it's a wonderful means of anchoring ourselves in present experience. So the breath is always with us. As long as we're alive, we're breathing. And through becoming sensitive to and aware of the breath, we bring our awareness into the body and into what's happening now, away from, you know, this endless, what's known as prapancha, you know, just these proliferating thoughts that are always going on. And please, there's not anything wrong with thinking, we need it. But there are times when it is really good just to be able to ground and to be aware of what's really around, of what now is like. Yeah. So, and the breath is a wonderful connector, you know. It's not our breath, really. It's breath moving us, you know, and it goes on whether we're asleep or unconscious or whatever. The breath goes on. And it's life, really, isn't it? It's this endless process of taking in and releasing. We take in what we need, we release what we don't. And there's this air that's oxygen that's circulating around between us all. So all living things are doing that, you know, expanding to take in, contracting to expel. So the breath, becoming aware of the breath, which is what this meditation teaches us to do, is a wonderful way of coming into present experience and learning to become sensitive to present experience. So the 4 stages of this practice are that, well, we'll do a little bit of a body warm up first, but then the actual practice is in 4 stages. The first stage, well, the first 2 stages, we just use counting a little to help us focus, to help begin us to kind of lock onto the breath, to kind of really tune in, perhaps would be a better, a more fluid kind of phrase, to tune into the breath. So in the first stage, we breathe in, we breathe out, and as we finish the out breath, we silently drop in a number 1. Then we breathe in, we breathe out, we silently drop in 2. And we attempt to get to 10. I'll talk about that in a minute. In the second stage, we change it very slightly. So you might notice, you can try this out now. You might notice that you breathe in, you breathe out, and then there's a little gap Might be quite short before you breathe in again. You breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in again. So we're just going to cross that gap. And in the second stage, we drop a count in just before the in-breath. So it's a small shift, but actually it's an energetic shift, because it means that in the first stage, we are a bit more focused on the out-breath, which allows us to settle and relax. Then in the second stage, there's a little bit more focus on the in-breath, which kind of enlivens us. We're taking in oxygen, taking in freshness, newness, aliveness. So that's the second stage. The third stage, we let go of the counting. We stay focused on the breath, but we also allow ourselves to be more aware of the body as a whole breathing. So we don't lose that central anchoring of the breath, but we can expand, allow the awareness to expand a little. So we just notice the breathing body. We experience the breathing body, which might mean that you focus particular areas, come into your awareness. You might sometimes have a sense of the whole body. You might come into the breath itself, where you're most aware of it. But there's a fluidity to that. But we stay very much with the breath as figure. Then in the final fourth stage, we hone it down and we focus on the breath as it enters and leaves the body, which is here. This is kind of like our breath interface with the world. So those sensations are very subtle. Sometimes you're almost not quite sure, particularly on the out breath, where it depends on the kind of the physiology of this bit of your face as to what you feel, but you may just feel a little soft warmth on the upper lip, on the outsides of the nostrils. Sometimes people find it very hard, and it may just be the kind of face you've got to feel anything. But in a way, it almost doesn't matter whether you're feeling it or you're kind of not quite sure whether you might be imagining it. What we're really doing is we're refining our attention. So having kind of allowed it to kind of take in the whole body, then in the fourth stage, we kind of hone it down. We get some precision. So we're training our awareness. Okay, so that's the ideal. And in the first two stages, ideally you get up to 10 and then you start again. But what we know happens, all of us, at different times, is that very often we get distracted. So we think that we're on it, and then we suddenly realize we've gone off on a train of thought. Now, I have an image that I use that I've shared before. So, sorry if you've heard it before too many times, but I always imagine that the awareness is a bit like, or the idea is that the awareness is a bit like, imagine you're standing on a railway bridge and these trains are going. And the bridge is like the awareness, and you're just aware of these trains. And then suddenly, before you know it, you've lost the bridge. You're actually half a mile down the track on a train of thought, as it were. So the magic is that as soon as you've noticed that you've gone off on one, as it were, you are back in awareness. There's just this magic that you're instantly, as soon as you've noticed, that's the coming back into awareness. And it honestly doesn't matter how many times during a meditation you have to do that, because we're reprogramming ourselves. They knew a thing or two, these ancient Buddhists. So we are really developing new neural pathways. So don't worry if you keep getting distracted and then you notice and then you're back in awareness again. That is fine. You're just doing the practice. That's great. So before we start, the other thing I want to mention is posture. So body, mind, very connected. So what you're doing with your body will help the meditation. So what we're looking for is a position that is both relaxed and upright and alert. So relaxed doesn't mean slouchy. It will mean, and we'll do a body scan in a bit, it'll mean, not having your shoulders up around your neck, not having your jaw tight, not. And gradually we notice that there are places where we are tight, and we just breathe into them. We just allow them to settle and relax. We don't force anything. but we're also going to hold uprightness. So there's a sense of really wanting to allow energy to move very well through the body, particularly up the central spinal column, whatever, the center of the body, core of the body. So you want to find a position that is fairly upright, not rigid, not military, and not slouchy. So if you can feel, you may be able to feel whatever you're on, sitting on. You have a sense of your sitting bones going down into the seat that you're on. Wanting to be fairly vertical. So you have a sense of the body both being well grounded and being able to rise up. There is the imagining of the golden thread, which means that you just allow, you have this ridge at the back of the skull. Just kind of imagine that extending up a bit without doing any of this, but just seeing how comfortably you can get a sense of the neck lengthening. And then the chin just very slightly tucking in, so not pulling right in and not restricting your breathing. But so you get the long neck and then the chin just slightly tucked in so that you can have a sense of the kind of openness at the crown of the head up towards the sky. So here we are, we're sort of rooted in the earth and open to the sky. That's the kind of sense we want to get. And arms supported on your lap. Quite often people use a cushion. I'm not going to do that because I think it'll get in the way of the computer, but you get the idea. Okay, so just preparing yourself now for the meditation and getting into a good, comfortable, arms well supported, head well supported kind of posture. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, just allow yourself to do that. If that doesn't feel comfortable to you, then I just suggest softening the gaze, looking just 6 feet or so ahead of yourself. You can actually allow the eyelids to relax so you get this kind of what they call hanging curtains. Okay, good. So just settling in now. And we'll start by just taking 3 deep breaths. So breathe in, and as you breathe out, just really allowing the body to settle. So having a sense of the support, whatever you're sitting on, and the ground beneath you, and really a sense of the solidity of the earth beneath that, going down and down and down. Just giving your body a chance to really settle in. So each time you breathe out, just letting the body settle. And we're just going to be noticing the awareness in the body. So that's not like you have to think about the body. It's more like you notice that there is awareness. So that's very different from, I say to you, there is awareness in your lower belly. It's not like you have to sort of somehow do some kind of internal peering down at your lower belly. You just allow yourself to notice the awareness that is present in your lower belly. Yeah, so it's kind of different from thinking about. The awareness is just there. Awareness is. We can't even say it's my awareness, it's your awareness. It just is awareness. So we just notice that awareness. And by directing attention, we can notice the awareness in different parts of ourselves. So let's start just with the skull, with the scalp, your face. Just allowing yourself to notice the sensations. There can be all sorts of sensations. We can notice temperature. We can notice tingling. We can notice tightness, ease, many things. And coming down to the throat. So we hold a lot of tension in the neck and the throat. Just imagining the throat as soft, responding to the breath. Energy rising up the back of the neck. Letting the shoulders relax. Nothing you have to grit yourself against right now. And allowing that relaxation to spread down through your arms, your elbows, your wrists. Letting your hands be loose, supported and loose. Just noticing the sensations, the aliveness of the hands. We have a lot of sensation, a lot of nerve endings there for doing all the delicate work we need to do with them. Coming back into the chest, the rib cage, just feeling the breath, the expansion and contraction. Letting the belly be soft. And just experiencing the breath. Having a sense of the length of your back. All the myriad sensations in your back. And coming into the lower back and the whole of the pelvis, perineum, kind of base of your trunk. Just feeling all those sensations in there. Noticing awareness in your legs. The heavy muscles running down the sides of your legs. Sensations in the skin, your knees, calves, ankles, and into the feet. A real sense of the ground beneath you. And then just beginning to focus your awareness on the breath itself. Noticing all the places where you can feel that movement of breath. Maybe in your face, in your throat, your chest, your belly, right down into your pelvis. Probably we can feel it anywhere. So just tuning into that as we move towards the beginning of the meditation. So mindfulness of breathing. And in this first stage, we're going to drop a count in at the end of each out breath. So breathing in, breathing out, 1, and so on. No special way you need to breathe. Just letting the breath be as it is. When you notice that your mind has wandered, just back in awareness again. Just resume the breathing, the counting. So now we're going to move on to the second stage. And in this stage, we just move that counting to just before we breathe in. being with your experience just as it is. Third stage of the practice. So, letting go of the counting, staying in contact with the breath, allowing yourself to experience your breathing body. The final fourth stage, focusing the awareness on where the breath enters and leaves your body. So refining the awareness. Just taking your time, gently coming out. Okay, well, thank you very much for meditating with me. Hope to see you again. And yeah, please don't forget to donate if you can. Yeah, I hope you have a very pleasant rest of the day. Okay, cheers. See you again.